Say
We
no
back.
more. We're back.
We're back,
We're
baby.
back.
What's going on, bro? Fresh Sundays, fresh pod for your head top. What's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. Yeah, chilling. Just chilling, lad, as always.
Look at the. I know I say this on every episode, but my bits and bobs wall is growing in it. Do you know what I mean? For all you visual listeners, my apartment looks like an arts and craft wall at a junior school.
What you were going to say was like a museum, but yeah, it's more
Definitely
there,
not a museum, bro.
Where's that taxi come from? I just spotted that now. That little
Callum drew that.
That's nice. That yeah.
There's some funny ones for the Modelo and that. But I always think, that's my little shrine. Again, ideally going forward, lad, would be in beautiful studios one day next to each other doing this. But for now, this is what you're working with. Right, what we doing today, Michael? What are you telling me? What are you asking me, should I say?
Yeah, what am I asking you? We're going to do things a little bit differently today. We do have a guest on, and it's you. It's Big Man. It's the Big Man himself. It's Shep Doggy Dog, Kristian Shepherd, live in the flesh. Wicked Skeng Man, tearing up.
Who's
NYC.
on what? Archie.
Yeah, jokes aside, lad, it is you. I think it'd be wicked to spend this time that we've got today to dig into a little bit about your background, your journey, a lot's happened that's led to you going to New York, but I know from the beginning it's always been the plan. How you visualize that and like how you've made it happen. So yeah, are you comfortable doing that? Is that good with you?
Defo. Let's do it, bro. Let's go.
Sick.
You're putting me on the spot. I feel like I'm on the spot.
You are on the spot. You get to feel how our guests normally feel. So that's pretty good. Okay, to start this, which again, doing things differently. I'm going to do the warm-up, but I'm going to do it with you.
Yeah, go on, hit me, bro. Nice.
Right, okay, so
nice.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl. A bit of both, I say night owl.
Instagram or LinkedIn?
Instagram.
First job you ever had?
Glass collector.
Glass collector, nice. In bars?
Yeah, function rooms in a local bar, back in Tilsley.
Okay, nice. A brand you're secretly obsessed with? That's a hard one, that. Who wrote these? Is it you?
A brand that I'm secretly obsessed with.
Sounds like it'd have to be like eHarmony. Is that a sex toy thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to answer to that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like
because it'd have to be secret.
An obscure market. I don't know if there's a brand that I'm secretly obsessed with. If I'm obsessed with a brand, you probably know.
Yeah,
I either wear it, eat it, live it, train with it. I don't know.
Listen! Don't shoot the message. I'm just reading the questions. What's always in your bag?
A sketchbook.
Nice. One word that describes your work style.
Tenacious.
What's a trend you wish would disappear?
Bento boxes. But I also use them a lot as well, you know what I mean? Bento boxes.
The biggest cultural inspo growing up?
Probably Channel U.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then following on from that, one song that gets you in the zone.
It has to be a Skepta track. Diligent Skepta, is it that Gas Diligence or something like that? That one, something like that. Skepta.
Do you know what gets me going?
Go on.
Especially when I was in London, running to London in the rain.
Yeah.
It's London in the rain. Anything can numb the pain.
Anything with that grime sound from back in the day, that kind of, you know, yeah. Sick, that was
the last one. Well, we're not finished. Sorry, I was just diving in there. What does your mum think you do?
My mum, I've worked at it for a good thingy in it. She thinks she knows I'm a designer. She knows what I do. She understands what I do. She's my mother, my family, should I say? I don't know if I should. I know these are one words in it, but I'll just talk. I drop as a consumer check. I always drop my work into the family group chat, and it's interesting because my mum really kind of not overcooks it, but gives me the best she can. My dad's one word, and Callum's like in between. Do you know what I mean? Callum almost like Callum's a perfectionist and wants to make sure he does everything 100%. So if I send something, he makes sure he gives me like, well, like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think my family and mum, they know what I do. I babble on about it as well. You know, my mum watches all these. She'll be watching this one. Hi, mum.
Hey, Mandy. How we doing? good to see you checking back in. Our top listener. On that, because I think a lot of people's mums don't know what they do. So you've got a WhatsApp channel, right? And you drop bits in all the time. What are the responses you tend to get from your mum?
Oh yeah. She's pretty straight up. She tells me what she likes, and it's usually a one or if I show her 3 options, she'll tell me a favorite, and then she'll tell me a close favorite. But it's pretty, off the cuff. There's no really, there's no right kind of. I guess she just says how she feels in it. Do you know what I mean? My dads are the best, though, lad. Do you know what I mean? My dad's throw me off. My dad just says how it is. Yeah, I can't. I wish I had one in my head to say, but yeah, he just says how it is.
That's the signs of a good creative director, innit? Like, just say it how it is.
So to say.
What would your but earlier on, what would your mum say? Like, how have you sort of navigated this journey for her to understand, like, oh, maybe this is good, or this is what Kristian deems as good, or this is bad?
Yeah, I don't know if she still understands, like, the kind of, obviously I'm a very, I'm from that smart in the mind world in it as you are, like, we love them ideas and kind of observational moments that, I remember when I first ever seen that FedEx logo, and I ran back and told my mum, like, Mum, this is what I want to do, I want to find shapes within shapes, I want to make things, whatever, I think she kind of gets it with that, but I don't think she'd spot out Amazon being from A to Z, but she might say, like, I don't know, she might see something of, like, I think that she makes connections to you, say she seen me wear like a Supreme t-shirt and had a certain kind of a graphic on it, and then that correlates to something she might see in her world, and she might, Kristian might like that kind of energy, so I think it's that kind of thing, that kind of visual kind of like tissue maybe that she's seen.
My mum used to do that with food. So when I told her I was vegan, she kept buying me pita breads and hummus for fucking time, lad.
Well, that's all you eating it.
and it was like getting home and the fridge having it in. I was like, yeah, this is sick. Thanks, Mum. And then like just years went by and it just never adapted. Do you know what I mean? It was always pita bread and hummus. Like, that is all you eat. You're a rabbit, son. You're a rabbit. Yeah. You're gonna eat your pita bread and hummus. Maybe some carrot sticks if you're lucky. But yeah, taking it back. I think that was good where you was going then about running home with a FedEx logo. And what was your journey like getting into design? So take it all the way back from the hood, the ends, Tilsley. What was life like in Tilsley?
I hated school. I really didn't like school. I mean, even before that, I've always been quite a bit of a perfectionist. I've always had, some form of OCD that I understand a lot more now than I did back then. But yeah, I've always been the kind of person who, like, when I find that thing to give my all to, I'll give my all to it. And I loved art in school, and it always made sense that, to me, it made more sense than the other ones did. Like we're sitting in English and doing math and whatever else. I get it, and whatever I can read and I can add up my grocery shoppings and that. Do you know what I mean? If I need to or whatever. But I was just always enthralled by, like, even like product design or like cooking, like stuff that just wasn't like, your generic curriculum. I loved art, and I had a good art teacher called Miss Kidd, and I printed something on acetate once, and she was like, you should look into doing graphic design at college. I'd never heard of graphic design. I'd never even properly looked at a logo before, even though obviously I had, So that took me to like Pendleton, and I was lucky with Pendleton because like it was like an ideas-led course with Dave Holcroft and Ruari and stuff like that. I always pronounce his name wrong. Sorry if I butchered it again. It's been a long time since I've been at college. And then I kind of like, again, like it just kind of fell into it a little bit. That first year was trying to figure myself out a bit, because I hated school, but like it was kind of coming out of school being like F school in the best, in that kind of, kiddie teenager way or whatever, then going into this thing where like I could actually make a thing of, but I hadn't realised that yet, but then I'd still be open to embracing it. So the first year was very loose, and then in the second year, one of my tutors just told me that I had something. And when he said that, I was like, oh, sick. I'll do it. No one's taking this away, then I'll just get really good at this thing. So my second year, I remember like just falling in love with it. Not so much really understanding what I'd fell in love with in a weird way. I just started becoming like, because like, where it is, like college, you explore like loads of things that you draw, you do a bit of packaging, you do a poster, you do an environment, you do editorial, you do everything in it. Do you know what I mean? And whatever it was, I just got really into it. I just started really kind of like enjoying it. And I remember getting a little award at the end of college for like most improved or something. I got this little book, I still got it today, about knowing your onions or something. And then from that, then I took that energy and momentum, you could say, and then rode with that. Do you know what I mean? So like, looked for a university that was, was going to feed me these ideas, which I was still figuring out. But then also could offer me a placement year. So then that took me to UCLAN. I've always been really good at like my belly, the feeling of like walking into places, bro, and like just knowing it's right. Like, even, obviously we went, like when you went to uni and stuff, like I went to a few, but like walking into that one specifically just felt right. And then like even like the placement interviews that we did. So obviously we lived together in Bethnal Green then on our placement year, which is a madness, fucking bunk beds and that, bro. You know what I mean? You can speak to that more than fucking Jesus Christ, lad. That was greasy. We should talk about that, bro. That was greasy, weren't
it? Yeah, we'll get into that. So yeah, so you ended up at UCLAN.
Yeah.
Why did it feel right? Like, what was it about that place?
Again, I met Andy when I first walked in, and his energy was just unmatched, and not even like he was bouncing off the walls. He was just a really peculiar geezer. I'd never really met anyone like him, and I just felt super inspired by him. I was interested in him, as a person. It just felt right. It felt like he had some, I don't know. It just felt right. I don't know what it was, and I picked that university, went in on the first day, and then kind of just really embraced it from there. Then, do you know what I mean? I was really kind of shit for them first 2 years, but I remember it just being Andy and just being this, just Andy. He's hard to kind of put into words, isn't he? He's one of the most creative people I've ever met. He's the master in our eyes, isn't he?
Yeah, do you know what's crazy about this? I feel that we've benefited so much from our careers from going to that university and becoming ideas first designers, and it's substance over style, but then the style can come later. But that's becoming even more effective every day. Like, the closer we're getting to AI, like stylistic shit can just be made at the drop of a hat now. You can click a button and a presentation will be designed. So the way that we've been taught is becoming more valuable and stronger, like literally every single day. It's like it's like, how could Andy know that? Do you know what I mean? Or the people that taught Andy.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because like, again, like with the way things are progressing now, and the way we use AI as a tool, and it should be used as a tool. But I can already see like complacencies that people, even myself, like I fall into like I'll just stick that in it. I'll just stick that in ChatGPT, get that visualized there quick, and but it'll still never design. It'll never outdesign me. It'll never outthink me in a sense of adding a bigger narrative and a big idea to a brand. And like you said, I think Andy never taught me how to use any tool. Never mind AI. He never taught me how to use Photoshop. He never taught me how to use Illustrator. He just taught me how to think. And I know there's some great tutors and some great universities in the UK that do prioritize this level of thinking too. And I think that is what helps us secure our jobs going forward. I'll keep it,
Yeah, it always has, right? And going forwards, like even more, it's just gonna add. You just gonna become even more of a specialist than ever before.
Yeah, humanist.
So I feel like when we was at uni, something that was said quite a lot was, you can't be taught how to think, but you sort of can, can't you? What do you think about that?
I think you can be taught how to look, maybe,
Mm.
and you taught how to look differently. I think it's like anything, and it's like exercise, and I think it just makes the thing stronger. So I think if you exercise it more, the like kind of stronger you get to it, and then the stronger you get it, the quicker you get to it. I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
It's I don't know. I do think you can. How many books have we read, bro? How many design books? How many fucking podcasts? How many people? How many talks have we been to about? It's always about how people bloody think and how people get to an idea and how people get to this and get to that. I believe that kind of ideas come a lot from the subconscious, but the ideas only come if you're feeding your subconscious. So that classic thing in it about like, again, like you go and see all these talks and you see all these kind of things, and people, regardless how to get to a destination, you know what I mean, everyone's going to take a different direction to get to that destination in it. And I think as a designer, growing through the ranks and getting to where we've got to now and stuff, and even growing on beyond this, it's figuring out different ways. And there's no one way to every solution, is there? It's always a different fucking, every brief I feel like needs a different kind of approach, in a sense, to keep things fresh.
Going back to the exercise thing, I think that's what I'm going to get back to the chronological order and get back to.
You're sweet, bro. You drive this, bro. You're sweet, bro.
The exercise thing, that's really interesting, because I think there's yourself and Benj Smith. Big up Benj.
Big up Benj.
What both of you do, which I feel like is unmatched, is when you hear about a brief, you're so excited to get pen to paper that you've exercised it before anybody else has done the exercise. So when people turn up to do the exercise, you've already done the warm up, or you've already done it. You've already done the first workout, so you're already 2 or 3 workouts in. And I think that means that you've had time to experiment, and you're ready to start building. But then that's usually when people start the brief. You're already in build phase. People are just in the warm-up phase, and I think that is something that really separates you from anybody else that I've worked with.
Yeah, most good like all the good designers that I've worked with, right, are all, like every good designer I feel like I've worked with is in a briefing sketching. The half listening. Skipping all the big words that they don't understand, and they're just trying to get the brief. When I sit in them big strategy meetings at the start and I see the value in it, of course, do you know what I'm saying? I get it. But as a designer starting the project, I just want it in a sentence, really simple, in really simple words. And then from there, then I can start to ask myself what this project needs. So does this project need me to go outside for 2 days and get lost in whatever it is? You know what I mean? Does this project, have I come up with the idea straight away here now, and do I just need to, just turn over some more stones just to check it's the right idea? That classic thing as well. Like when I come up with a thing and I'm sketching, I get really excited when something starts to spread. And I think, seen this thing. I read this thing before about like a difference between a junior designer and a senior designer. And I think one of the biggest things is like a senior designer thinks differently when they're on their own. Do you know what I'm saying? The junior sometimes needs that room to get to that level of thinking, just a little bit, as we all needed. Do you know what I mean? That guidance around great people to see how they do it, to figure out how you want to do it. Do you know what I mean? But when you're in, like, as a senior, I think it's like jiu-jitsu, innit? Like when you start getting to purple belt, brown belt, you see 3, 4, 5 things ahead before they even happened, and you can kind of see the way things are going to kind of work out if you go that way. So let's try a different way in. And sometimes that different way in gets you strangled quicker than it would have done if you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's definitely where I'm at now in my career. It's like I was chatting to Jamie McAfee, a good friend of mine who's out in Oakland in California, cut from the same cloth as me and you. We'll have him on this podcast at some point. And he was looking at my work and stuff, and he was like, your work's it's not got a style, but it's got a style. And I was like, that's interesting. Do you know what I mean? So I really step back, and everything that I do is like very polished, very clean, very unmistakable, very kind of, You know, that's me as a designer, right? And I always fight with the thing of like finding the balance of kind of being inspired by what's new, but really sticking to what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, I hate fluff, bro. I hate adding fluff to stuff. Do you know what I mean? And you see a lot of the stuff in the world these days, and like on case studies and things like that, you see things just spinning. It could just be a t-shirt spinning. You know, there's like visual executions to these things that feel contemporary for today, but gone tomorrow and stuff. And I find, you know, the way I got taught at Turner Duckworth, do you know what I mean? To identify the unmistakable thing, dust off something maybe from the history and bring it back made for today. You know, there's always credibility in something that's got, you know, history attached to it. But then also it's kind of like I just try and, you know, look at it from today's lens, but remember what I believe in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. I think, yeah, it's a fine balance in it between like stylistic nonsense and doing something that's got an idea behind it, and I think it's just trying to strike that balance in it. But yeah,
that was my point. That was, to land on my point, or you just reminded me. My point being is that now where I'm at, and I have these formulas, I try and do it in a sense. I try and go the way that's not going to potentially, that I know might not work. Say that's the right way of putting it. Do you know what I mean? I try and take different approaches to get different solutions because, you know, I'm always going to come up with that really graphic, you know, with if it's a shape within a shape, or, you know, these kind of whatever this thing is, do you know what I mean? The smile in the mind moment, like that's what I love, do you know what I mean? That's what fucking lights me up inside, do you know what I mean? That's what. But I do try and take other ways in to make sure that I am still. But I always end up thinking, I always believe that, you know, I always go back to what, you know.
Yeah, which is core ideas, which is smile in the mind ideas, is what we learned at university, and there's we're blessed that we learnt that way, but there's also a struggle with it. But from that then, so yeah, at university we taught how to think, and then after second year, that's when we go on placement, innit?
Yeah.
So what was your journey like from being at UCLAN in Preston and being like, oh yeah, cool, like I do want to go on placement, and where am I going to go?
Yeah, so second year, we had obviously Andy does that conference week, doesn't he, every year, which is amazing. Turner Duckworth came in, showed all the big brands, Coca-Cola, Burger King. I was like, yes, sick. Walked over to Andy, that's where I want to work. I was fucking about an ice cream festival at the time. He was like, all right. He slightly paraphrased Andy, but he said something like, stop fucking about with ice cream festival and get your portfolio together. So I did that, went down, and I'd always wanted to go to TD. So Andy helped me get my foot in the door at TD with a placement. And then I did Landor, the allotment, Blue Marlin, Next Big Thing, 12th Man, and all ranging from like big agencies, small agencies, you know. But Turner Duckworth just felt right, bro. Again with my belly and my gut, it just felt right when I walked into the studio and I seen a big black door it was, and I seen Bruce, and I still remember the smells of it and everything. Mad, bro. Loved it, and I was like, right, this is where I want to work. And then when I was there, I got a little like Miller Lite Christmas card put on my desk. On the last day that I was there, by Miles Marshall, now the ECD at TD, he's like, I do something with this. So I did something with that. He won a few awards. Kind of cool, which has then got me in the door. To be honest, that whole Miller Lite project won a black pencil, and I believe that Christmas card that I did was one of the reasons why it won a black pencil. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Icing on the cake.
Definitely wasn't.
Am I imagining this? But did you set the fire alarm off at Turner Duckworth?
Oh, lad, I did. That's a fucking good memory, Michael. Shit, bro. That's a good memory.
And it wasn't with your work, was it?
Bro, lad, it's mad that you remember that, Dad. I was distraught, bro. So this fucking big door that I mentioned, fucking great memory there, lad. First day of my first, I did 2 placements there. The first day of my first placement, I got sent out to do an audit at like Aldi or Lidl or somewhere. I can't remember what it was for. I think we were doing like kettle chips or something like that, kettle crisp. Back in the day at TD, we'd always used to start an audit where we'd go out to, you know, wherever, and we go supermarkets and whatever and take photos of the shelves and stuff and whatever. So I remember I was leaving, and I remember it so specifically. Kate Bracero, who was the studio manager at the time, we used to get butties in the morning, like loads of bacon sarnies and bacon butties and that. And I was like, "Can I have one of bacon butty?"
What's a butty for our southern listeners?
What is a butty for a southern? What do they bap? What do they call it? Bacon bap, bacon roll.
A roll.
Balm cake up north, bro.
Yeah, balm.
No, it's a balm cake, bro. I know it's a balm cake. I took a fucking bacon balm and I was scurrying out the door, and the door was something was happening in the door anyway. I must have knocked an alarm as well, and I heard the alarm going off, and the door, it was a big black door, and it was slammed shut. It can't be me, that, so I went out and whatever. I came back, they told me that fire alarm was going off for like 2 hours, bro. Like fucking first day there, it's like, yeah, Kristian's there. And that's a good. I would never forget that feel when I came back and they told me. I felt like someone had punched me in my belly, bro. But, oh my god, that's the way to start your placement. Jesus Christ.
I know. I've heard some stories as well of people kicking people's like Macs off and stuff. Do you know when they got the buttons on the floor? Like interns going in and being sat there and they step on the plug socket by accident and turn someone's Mac off and lost all the work. I think some people have got bad stories, but yeah, that's quite a good one. Especially like it's the place, you want to make such a good impression, but you turned up there as yourself as always, but you know, like a little bit sharper, like hair slicked back and all that, and it's like
bells are ringing.
Do you know what I mean?
Bells are ringing when I started at TD, bro. You know, but nah, yeah, that was a mad one. And then obviously from there, bro, it was like I had my heart set on that then. Like, so when I went back to uni, you work very differently after a placement year. Anyone listening who's a student, or even not a student, as an early graduate, as a junior kind of role, I'd say it's so invaluable to go on placement at places, just to get a feeling of like how people even file the files, how how a briefing start, just like how timings work. And you in your second year and first year of uni, you have no context of timings. You work on one thing at the same time all and all. Very much in a habit now of like, it takes even more years to get to the point to be able to switch over mentally really quickly between projects. But I'm at a point now where I could dash between projects and answer, visualize like what a project needs and stuff. You can see the things a little bit more clearly, can't you, than when you're at uni? And like coming back even just after a taste of it, after a placement year, I think it just changes the way you fucking work, doesn't it? We both felt that. Everyone who came back off placement year and has done a couple of placements just take the thing just a lot more serious. Like when we went back in our last year at uni, bro, it's like we had a fucking studio in there. If we had client briefs, bro, like real client briefs, Jesus Christ, the talent that was in that room and the heads and the beautiful naivety that comes from student rooms too. You know what I mean? The possibilities are endless. Like, I say this to students all the time. I do a lot of like mentoring and like feedback on portfolios when I can and stuff. And, the receptions we get from the podcast, obviously, that we do. Embrace that freedom. The work you do is the work that you do. You know what I'm saying? And, I spoke to a girl recently who did like a project on gladiator sweat. You know what I mean? And like bottling gladiator sweat as like vitamins or something. And it's like, yeah, why not? You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah, that's really important. And I think doing this podcast, I've seen that and learnt that more and more how important it is that for a long time I was thinking that, it needs to be a real project that I've done, and I need to have proof that I've worked on this big client and that big client, and my portfolio is just full of drink stuff, I can't do anything else. And then I realized that, look at Ryan's portfolio, Ryan Panchal. Like, I think 90% of it is, maybe all of it was like self-initiated projects, and they're all sick because he's got to a senior level where, again, like you were saying before, you can sit on your own and you can make those decisions yourself and you can make them faster.
Yeah.
So the work that he'd put in there, and Ryan, from what I understand, like, is a bit of like a noodler as well, and he plays with like animation, and he's on it with lots of different things, and his portfolio is great, and that's what got him into Pearlfisher, I'm assuming, and whatever he does next. Yeah,
Ryan does great shit, and he gets great stuff from that, and I think it is that. I think it. You know what, bro? I still do personal. I'm going to show you after we've done this recording. I'm going to show you a personal project that I'm working on right now. Do you know what I mean? And again, because the work you do is the work that you do. Do you know what I mean? And I think even more so the more I progress throughout my career, I know what I want to be working on and what kind of, and stuff like that. It's getting tighter and tighter as I get older. But I think doing these creative projects, whatever you want to call them, creative projects, personal projects, whatever, experiments, there's always a fine line. Well, not a fine line. There's a differentiation between an artist and a designer, right? One of them's objective and one of them's subjective. One of them can say, fuck you, I'm doing it the way I want it. One of them's the reverse of it, fuck you, it's going to be done the way I want it. Do you know what I mean? In a way. Do you know what I mean? Because it is like, you're an artist, who's going to tell you to make that brushstroke thicker, that different colour? You're an artist, it's coming from you, and you're working on a client brief. There's got to be hopefully there's a harmony and collaboration where one, I feel like I've worked with so many clients who make the work better, do you know what I mean? And I've worked with so many clients that make the work worse, do you know what I mean? It's a push and a pull sometimes, but I feel like doing them personal projects at this stage in our career, you can do them a lot faster, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. You can explore things as necessary, and what I try and do is have a bit more patience with it now, and try and make myself uncomfortable with it, because realistically, lad, who's going to tell me anything? Do you know what I mean? Like when I did Hoots, right, went to that Pearlfisher talk, got inspired for typography, doing something with type, went home, started drawing joints in letters, seen the H look like stoner eyes, turned it on its side. I was like, oh sick, got a H, you got stoner eyes, I can do something with this. And all of a sudden created a brand and put that out there. And again, I'd love to work in the marijuana sector, not because weed's cool and whatever else. I think it's an untapped market. I think there's so much potential in it to be a market leader and a brand leader in that space. I mean, I'd love to work with them kind of brands. I'd love to attract them brands and potentially even take them to Pearlfisher, or or whatever it is. Like, again, the work you do is the work you do, right? So it's kind of like that stuff for me is, in a way, me being an artist in a sense of I can do it exactly how I want it to be done. I show it you, and I always listen to you, and I show it to other like Christian Egan and stuff like that. I would always take them 2 cents. I think you need to get people's eyes and stuff, but yeah, waffling, but you know what I'm saying.
No, but on that though as well, I think you become confident in your own abilities, and also what you want to go in your portfolio. So now it gets to a stage where you can listen to Kristian or you can listen to me or whoever, but it's like, I'm doing this way because it's the way that I do it, and it's going in my portfolio, or it's going here, or it's going there, the way that I want it. That's a difficult thing at uni, that as well, isn't it? Because for us, we had like 4 university teachers, lecturers, whatever you want to call them, and they all had very, very different opinions. And especially when it got to the final year, that's when you started to find the confidence of like being out, doing the internships, coming back. You hear what Pete says, you hear what Andy says, you hear what John says, Rachel, and you just have to get to a point where it's like, I'm taking all this in, I'm like taking this with a pinch of salt, I'm taking a bit of that, but I'm leaving the rest of this, and I'm just fucking doing this because it's my portfolio. And you've got to have the same attitude, haven't you?
You really have. I think it's hard, isn't it, when I guess it's the classic cooks cliche, too many cooks and all that. You just got to pick and choose, innit? Like, I've had great mentors throughout my career, and still have great mentors, and still looking for even, whatever. Like, consider you a mentor, and I think it's just kind of like finding yourself sometimes. Because you can lose yourself, especially at fucking uni, bro. Like, I did it so many times, like asking what you just said, and asking everyone, and then trying to inject this from Pete, that from Manny, that from Michael, and it's like, oh, what's going on? And I think again, why it's good to do these projects. It's so internal. Do you know what I mean? And just put that out there, and people can come. And that's a scary thing, bro. It's it's a scary thing, bro, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is, bro. I'll do a project and I'll sit there and be like, there'll be times where like I know it's good. I know what good design is, bro. I'm about to press post. I'm like, is it good? Is it good? Michael, is this good? I don't know. Then I start losing myself, and it's weird. It's a proper weird thing, and you put it out there, and sometimes it gets some traction, and sometimes it don't get any traction, and then. But I think, regardless of what traction it gets, I think just creating is so important. Do you know what I mean? It's just to be doing, reimagining, reinventing yourself. Approaching things in different ways, and then taking that into the day job maybe, and that can inspire different ways of doing whatever thing you might be doing on in work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, work. For sure. So, okay, so you'd done your placements, come back to uni. We had like another killer year. Then we were more prepared, like we were sharper, more focused. We both graduated uni, and then what was next for you? Did you have something lined up?
It was TD work. So like before.
I'm asking you like this for viewers, you know what I mean?
Sorry.
I
Sorry,
know what's
bro.
good, you know what I mean?
Sorry, bro. Well, after Bethnal Green as well, obviously, innit? Do you know what I mean? We did the whole Bethnal Green thing, did the bunk beds, came back, did that, and then it was like I knew from well, I knew from that year I didn't want to go back to London having bunk beds for sure. But
why not?
It was a bit much, bro. Do you know what I mean? I just needed a little bit more, just a little bit more space. That's all I needed, just a touch more space. It was TD, bro. Like, I always kept in touch with Turner Duckworth, and I remember when Moira, she doesn't work there anymore, Moira Riddle. I always remember when she hollered me, and I hadn't even graduated, and she offered me the job. Flirted with a few other agencies, but I was like, yes, that's where I'm going. So I moved down to London. Before I even graduated, started the job, got my house, got in a house with like Steve the Pirate and Danny Jones and Megan, mad on Chatsworth Road in Homerton. Before it was the Chatsworth Road, today we watched it kind of like change up and glow up and stuff, which is cool. Say as we did with Bethnal Green a little bit. When we got to Bethnal Green, it wasn't like that. Like 10 years ago, it was fucking greasy when we got there, bro. Jesus Christ! Like walking
we used to call it Bethnal Grease, didn't we?
Bro, like
I've seen some crazy stuff on that street.
Oh, bro, the madness we used to see. Like if we, like I said, it was a champagne lifestyle and a lemonade budget, wasn't it? So we somehow get into like Shoreditch House, go to the Bagel Bake, get bagels on the way home, bro, and then we'd always see like some form of a fight on the way home, or someone getting hit with a bottle, or police fucking arresting someone. There's always just something, weren't they? Just getting stopped. You want weed? You want this? You want that? Where we lived was on the edge of a strip club, weren't it? So it's a late night strip club. So like when obviously getting home late, you had the madness outside of the strip club too, and all that kind of stuff. That was an experience, that, bro, weren't it? We're so again.
Once you got through all that, once you'd passed through all of that fuckery, you then get into your bunk bed with me.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was a safe, feeling safe, bro. Yeah. Maybe an egg if it was a good week. That was a hustle, bro. But I think you obviously learn a lot from that. And then obviously you went back into my, after I graduated uni, then and I was at TD then for like 5.5, nearly 6 years. I never really wanted to leave, but I've just always felt like all the great designers that I look up to and aspire to be, like most of them have kind of like been around to multiple agencies and really kind of. So I was like, right, sick, less scratch marks on the wall. I always say that. I literally did leave scratch marks. I would cry my eyes out ringing. I rang Christian Eager and Matt Waters. I'm fucking leaving. I don't want to leave. I'm leaving. Then I went to B&B.
Just before you got to B&B, it was actually quite a long time, wasn't it? You'd thought about leaving Turner Duckworth because you thought this is the next step. I don't want to. You always used to say it like, I don't want to do it because I love it here and everything's right. So why would I want to leave it? But it's also you knew that, or you felt inside that to develop further, grow, I need to move. But it took a long time, didn't it, to make that leap?
Yeah, I must have started feeling it. I always said to myself 5 years. So when I got to like 4.5 year mark, that was when I started questioning it and being like, right, where do I want to go next? And in hindsight, I would have done it differently. I don't think I would have gone to an agency that still did packaging and stuff. I think I would have done something where it was completely different, and I think that's my 2 cents. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, innit? Like I went to B&B and like B&B just wasn't really right for me. Do you know what I mean? I stayed there for 11 months. After 6 months, I remember having chats with the creative director there and stuff, and I don't know. I just didn't feel it. Just didn't feel right. I just didn't feel lit up enough there. I didn't feel that inspired enough there. It wasn't anything about the company. It's such a great company, do great work and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't feel like. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was weird because it was a point in my life where it felt like I was like not falling out of love with design, but I was like, oh god, I felt a bit directionless, Just like going there from that, and again, like I really loved TD, and I think that was, looking back now, I think it was that too. Like starting at TD, your eyes are so wide open when you walk into an agency like that, and you're so like, oh. And I guess I was looking for. I expected B&B to be similar, and it just wasn't. You know what I mean? It just wasn't, lads. It just wasn't that. So I think if it was to go back, I'd go to maybe a digital agency or like, do you know what I mean, more of a brand forward agency instead of packaging agency and stuff. But
this is really interesting. I never really thought of it like this as well. Is that because you got into TD like at the start, it wasn't like you was able to build yourself up and then go into TD when you became more senior. But on that as well, I think the lineage is quite important as well. Like if you come from, somewhere which isn't in that circle, by the time you're a senior, you've gained loads of experience, but it's these companies that maybe people haven't heard of, then it is really difficult to get in somewhere like a TD. Yeah. So it's quite interesting, isn't it? It's almost like you need to get in, not 100%, not like 100%, but it's almost like better to get in earlier than it is to try and get in later.
Yeah, I feel like so? Yeah, I think it is important. But like you said, it's lineage, isn't it? I look at some people's stuff, and I think, like we know a lot of people in this industry now, and like again, I think you can change your path however you want to, wherever you want to go. I think if you know you want to go there, then you go there. Do you know what I mean? I just think I don't want to say to people like it's super important where you start because that'll facilitate everything else, because I don't think it is that. But for me, it worked because Turner Duckworth's a really prestigious name, I guess. But in some circumstances, people have told me that TD works old-fashioned thinking. I've had stuff like that. People say stuff like that to me after meetings and after when I send portfolio, naming no names, but which is crazy to me. Do you know what I mean? Because I think regardless of what the work is and what the work looks like, the purity that comes from TD, I just think it's. I'm grateful to have been taught like that, and I wouldn't want. I want to be taught new things, but I'm glad that my foundations are there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then you plugged up the courage to leave TD. You went to B&B. It wasn't quite working out, and then where do you go? Or what do you do from there?
So again, like I said, I was super lost, man, and I was doing good work at B&B and that, but again, just not lit up by it. So I was like, right, I'm gonna go freelance. I'd be a fly on the wall with the energy of like being a placement again. And I love pressure, lad. I love being on the pressure's a privilege, adversity is a privilege, lad. And I just think that's where great things happen. Do you know what I mean? I'm always best, right? Yeah, I get briefed in on a Monday, fucking question my existence for the rest of the day, probably leave, come back Tuesday, question it even more. And I'll have a meeting midday on a Wednesday, and it all comes together Wednesday morning because pressure's a privilege. So like with that said, I went freelance, and I think with that, like it's such a bigger thing because it's not just about obviously turning up to work every day. It's making sure you've got work tomorrow as well as doing the work today. So I kind of I enjoyed that. You know what I mean? I enjoyed the working 8-day weeks, and I started building up my own clients and gaining experience. The reason I liked it, bro, is because everything felt new. And I think even though I was like quite linear with some of the work and whatever else, there's like I was learning new things. I was developing new skills. I was drowning in different waters that I hadn't been drowning in before and stuff. And that for me is like super important. That's it for everything in my life. Do you know what I mean? Good things have come from when I've been drowning first, whether it was walking into TD, like I drowned for 5 years at TD, bro. Do you know what I mean? And I think with TD, I just always felt scared. Do you know what I mean? I just always felt like, and then when I went to freelance, lad, I was always scared about like having work tomorrow. So I'd over deliver. I believe he who gives more becomes more, and I'm the person who I always give more, and no one will ever outwork me. No one, no one. And if you do, I want to be working with you. Do you know what I mean? If you do, I want to be next to you working. Make me feel lazy. Do you know what I mean? Because I just strive off that, and I think from going to these kind of places and stuff like that, and like doing freelance, and exploring the industry a little bit more so, and almost on the hunt for the others. Do you know what I mean? The others who are, again, tenacious in their approaches, of, really about this life, who love it as much as I love it, and don't just see design as a 9 to 5, like really kind of like live this, So, and like the freelance thing was 6. So I went to JKR, I went to Pearlfishers, I went to like Studio Minerva, Williams Miriam, and got really kind of like like great bookings on like concept phases and stuff. And again, like the pressure's really real when you go into I love having to prove myself. I love it, lad. I love having to prove myself. It's sick. So again, like I strive for it. But then coming for 2 years of that, I just felt like after that it was like one of them. And then I'd always wanted to go to New York. So I'd just done 10 years in London. It was coming up to my 10 years mark. London, New York has always been an itch. Again, why? Because it fucking terrifies me, lad. I'm going to move to a place where like they speak the same language, but everything else is different. I don't even know how to get an apartment there. I don't even know how to navigate anything really. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know anyone here. I hear they work harder than anywhere else in the world. I hear that it's the hardest place to live in the world. If I want some of that, I'll eat that up, bro. Do you know what I mean? I'll find myself comfortable.
Okay, so New York. Hold that thought. I need a wee.
Go on.
And then we'll get into New York. Lad, I'm shaking. Lad, this is sick. Right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. We're back. Sorry, little toilet break there. New York. That's where I was. New York.
New NY Sizzling.
NY Sizzling. So you said you went there because it's the work is hard there, right? It's hard to live there, and if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? What's that been like?
That's what they say. Yeah. So like I said, even like going back to even before even being here, I was interviewing whilst I was doing freelance and whatnot, and to try and get out here and stuff like that. And obviously I need a visa and all that kind of stuff to get out here. It's really hard to get to make a case, even to just get here and work, you know what I mean, and stuff. It's really tricky without a visa. Well, you can't do it without a visa, obviously, but without a company sponsoring you for the visa, it does make it a lot easier. So obviously I was looking for that as well. Interviewed with a few agencies, did a stint at Pearlfisher on freelance, got a really good feeling from Matt Sear and that, the executive creative director here. Just good energy, good, felt like good energy, and I heard good things about him and stuff. So all right, sick. So did the work, obviously did a 2-week booking, smashed it as much as I could, then got offered the job. I didn't even show my portfolio. I said that there's a job going, like, are you about this life? So I felt like everyone in the world knew that I wanted to get to New York. Do you know what I mean? I was petitioning on LinkedIn and that. And the whole world was repping me. So then, got here. I've been here now for just about a year and a half. And it's a lot, bro. That's the first 6 months here was like hell. The amount of days and times I'd ring my mum and be like, Mum, I can't do this. Like, this is insane. Like, I am a creature of routine and habit, and I need a gym. I train, obviously, if you listen to this podcast religiously, like I train martial arts, and it's a super important thing for me. I need to train daily, and I just couldn't. I was moving around from sublet to sublet, trying to figure out my credit rating, trying to get an apartment. No one tells you all this stuff, especially right when you're doing it on your own. I know a lot of people who come out here, met their partner, and just moved in with someone, or like, done it with 2 people and moved over with someone else. Like, doing it on your own is heavy, like heavy. The amount of time, I just remember, like, I'd be in work, briefed in on a concept stage, and then I have to go and view an apartment that was in deep Brooklyn, and I work in Manhattan, and the fucking train subway system here is a madness. And there's like loads of forms of communication. You have like numbers, shapes, colours, letters. Fucking lad, there's like so many forms of communication, and it's so overwhelming when you're already fucking fatigued from moving to a new place and trying to, even just figure out how to fucking cross the road, bro. Like, you hear about America, about joy walking and shit like that. So I'm like, do I cross? Can I cross? When I remember literally asking one of the police, I don't know who it was, like not police or traffic people or whatever. Like, how do I cross the road? Like, am I good just walking out? And I remember just being there, and like everything's like so much bigger, and like the energy is so much more infectious, and everyone is like, it's crazy, lad. It's not real. It's not a real place. Like, it's madness. It's so inspiring, but so exhausting at the same time. And it's lovely feeling like I've been here now a year and a half, and again, hindsight's a very beautiful thing. I see New York very differently than I did before moving here, lad, and living here. And I can give you 2 different perspectives, lad, of like coming here for like, seeing everything for the first time, and then seeing everything for the first time vicariously through someone else, where someone comes out to visit you, and You know, you remember them ones when you fucking moved to London and like your brother or your friends come down to London for the first time. You're like, the London Bridge, the fucking Shoreditch, like fucking Soho, like da-da-da. Imagine doing that in a new place. This is the Empire State Building. This is the fucking Brooklyn Bridge. This is Greenpoint. This is da-da-da.
Yeah.
It's a crazy place, bro. It's mad.
You know, the best thing about your friends from back in the day as well, like coming down to London, was always like they'd be pointing at stuff, and you're like, "Yeah, that's normal here."
Yeah.
We don't bat an eyelid at anything here anymore,
bro. And I know, and then that gets elevated even more so. Do you know what I mean? Which is crazy because like London is a madness at times. The things you see in London in certain areas and things like that and whatever else, but I think the thing that that I do notice about living in a different place, you know what I mean? I've done a good stint in San Francisco, obviously London, New York, and stuff like that, and who knows, wherever next one day maybe. But the thing is, wherever we go to, we're always outsider looking into these places. So I think you always, you know, you're never going to see the proper cracks of these places like you would, for instance, where we're from. You know, you're from in Preston, or where I'm from in Manchester and Tilsley and stuff like that, and you know, it's very different things. It's mad. What's mad is like coming from like the honeymoon of like being in New York and everything is super exciting, but some things never leave you. It's like when I leave jiu-jitsu, I make sure I walk past MSG, and when I'm walking past MSG on my left there, I look at my right and the Empire State Building's there, and you know, I see that thing near enough 3-4 times a week, and it never gets old. Do you know what I mean? Like when I go over to Brooklyn, I try and always take the D train. The D train goes on the Manhattan Bridge. It goes over the Manhattan Bridge. It gives me a sick view of everything and that. And then the moments where you're like, shit, like I'm here. But then it can also be really fucking scary, bro, when like fucking you see these shootings happening on the subway, or you get someone on the subway shouting. There's always someone shouting, bro. There's always fucking someone shouting, no matter what time of day, no matter where it is, there's always someone shouting. Yeah, but it's untapped energy and untapped potential in a lot of places there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that like you said, there's almost two sides of it, and then I think but I see the scary dark side of it on the internet like all the fucking time. But one of the good sides of it is from what I understand, is the energy of how people are just like fucking get up and go and let's do this. And do you feel that energy? Because we're not really about that in the UK.
Yeah, people
as people, me and you, and many others who'd be watching this. But you know, growing up, it's always like, like I'm going to be like a F1 racer. What? You know, how are you going to do that? Do you know where Silverstone is? It's like, and who's going to pay for that? Like, you need to get that out your head. You're doing removals. You're collecting glasses that's what you're doing. You are nothing. So I got dark. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, people just Americans celebrate themselves differently, lad. British people are so coy about. I won that award last week for Americans. Like, I won that award and it got me this, and I did it for this work, and I'm going to win that award. Do you know what I mean? You do feel a little bit. They're a bit more confident in the. Everyone's. It's like you said. It's you make it anywhere. Like everyone here is hustling, bro. Everyone here is hustling. I look out my fucking window now to the Spanish lady pushing the fucking the trolley cart with the frozen ice in. I look out someone selling nuts. I look out as soon as a fucking raindrop hits the floor, boom, people are out selling umbrellas. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's just trying to make it here, and that you do really feel that. And especially like training at martial arts gyms. You know, martial arts attracts a certain kind of person, a very tenacious person, so to say. And you meet a lot of people in there who are doing sick stuff too. Do you know what I mean? People just believe, bro. People believe themselves, and I like that. I like that. I let people just celebrate themselves, and it doesn't come across as like arrogance and whatever. They're just telling you what I can fucking do, and do you want to do it with me or not?
Like, is it always truthful as well? Because I love that. Like, when somebody is like, I am who I am and I do this and I do that, I'm like, yeah, this is great that you rep yourself. I wish I could be more like that, and I can be and I will be. But I remember I got on this call once, and people go, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna walk around the room." Everybody introduce them. You're like, "Yeah, I'm Kristian. I'm a designer." And you stop there, and I'm the project manager, and I do a bit of this. No one. Sometimes people don't delve into like who they are and big themselves up once. And I was on this call with this guy once, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been a fashion photographer for like 15 years. Shot Kanye, did this, did that, did this. Like set up my own fashion brand. Like did this, did that." He had like this crazy this crazy name which sounded like a fashion brand. Like he's done this, he's sold all this work, like he's made X millions, blah blah. And I'm like, wow, this guy's sick. Like I'm on a call here with like a real baller here.
Yeah.
And the next call I did, I stole that from him, and it was relevant as well. I was telling people about my past doing freestyle football and how that got me working with these brands like Nike and Adidas and FIFA and performing halftime on football pitches at Anfield and Wembley and all this stuff, and but that led me into design, and it made sense in this context, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, that's sick." But then what I did figure out about this guy is he was just full of shit. Like he was an absolute liar.
I knew you was going to say that then.
The proof wasn't in the pudding when he did the work. It wasn't there. So, do you ever come across that as well? Take a note there. Take a note.
Yeah,
what are you writing down as well? What are you writing down there as well?
I just came up with an idea, don't I? You made me think. I guess I'm not. Yeah and no. Not so much at Pearlfisher. Everyone's like, I'm not just saying this.
I'm not saying at Pearlfisher.
No. I know you're not. And I'm just clarifying, like, Pearlfisher. Everyone's so lovely, bro. And I think that's the difference. Like, sometimes I feel like I expected it to be a little bit more like cutthroat, and so it's kind of like it's actually quite nice that it's not too heavy. Do you know what I mean? It's a really nice environment to work in. So I will say that. But juxtaposed to that, like again, I hear these people run the mouth at jiu-jitsu. But more time, bro, the people that I've met this one lad called Cam, and we met. He did interviews. He did street interviews for Daily Dose Society. I've actually got a massive following. I don't know if he does them anymore, but he's in that world of like content and stuff like that. And he just reached out for me, just like, "Lad, can I ask you a couple of questions?" Like, "Yeah, bro." He's like, "You British?" Like, "I'm British as me, bro." And then before you know it, and then he told me everything that he's done. Like, be good to actually have on the podcast. He's shot music for every grime artist that we like, bro. It's insane. The stories he's told me and stuff like that. I'll let him tell them on the podcast. It's insane, and like I never once seen that Cam is one of us, bro. He talks to you like he's talking to me. He's a London lad. He's you'd never think it, but he says it in the most confident way that reassures you that he just knows who he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say about the guys that I hear on the mouth of jiu-jitsu because I don't really built like proper relationships with most of them. Do you know what I mean? Only some of them. But I have an head on where I'm like, I've not got a reasons to not kind of believe it, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
Ride the energy.
I'd do the same as well, like in the instance with that guy. And I think for myself and maybe for you as well, is building the work up builds the confidence up, and then you can talk more in conviction because it's like the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, and like that whole thing about faking it till you make it kind of thing. Like, I always remember like imposter syndrome I'd have when I was a junior designer, even a middleweight designer, about like people ask you what you're doing. Like, I'm a designer. No, you're a fucking designer. Do you know what I mean? You're a fucking graphic designer, and that's what you do. Do you know what I mean? If you're on a plane next to somebody on the plane, and what are you going to tell them that you do? And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to say I've rebranded some of the biggest brands in the world. I've worked on some of the most unmistakable brands in the world, and I fight the fluff daily. Do you know what I mean? Let's work together. Do you know what I mean? There's not, you know what I mean? And I could also go into me as a person. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that, I spoke to this guy the other day at jiu-jitsu who works in advertising at YouTube out here on, like, obviously. He told me that he goes to the 7 o'clock jiu-jitsu class every morning. Lad, I don't need to know anymore, bro. I don't need to know anymore. You know what I mean? It's at jiu-jitsu. Lad, sadists go to jiu-jitsu classes at 7 o'clock in the morning, bro. People have got something fucking wrong with them. Do you know what I mean? In the best way possible. Do you know what I mean? So he tells me that, and I already know he's about this life. Like, I want to be your friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm attracted to that kind of way of being. Do you know what I mean? I'm attracted to people who are in the middle of oceans, kettlebells on their feet, just being drowned. I love that. I just need to be around that. I believe massively that you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. So again, like coming to a place like this and trying to find these energies, and when you get to your 30s, bro, like making friends, like real, not just friends, bro, not just people you say hello to in the street, like actual real connections. It's fucking hard, bro. It's like finding a partner. Do you know what I mean? Because like I'm not hanging around with anyone who doesn't fuck with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not dropping my shit for someone else. You know what I mean? You either meet it or go above mine, and I'll try and keep up with your stuff, or else like I'm not around it, bro. You know what I mean? Like good energies make the stacks increase, and iron sharpens fucking iron, and I'm just looking for that. Do you know what I mean? I just want to be around savages and people who are passionate about whatever fucking flat. I don't care if you fucking whatever it is you do, like fucking empty bins, for fuck's sake. I don't give a fuck. If you're really passionate about that thing and you want to be the best in the world at it, I want to fucking be next to you, like, because there'll be some things that are transferable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we spoke a lot about that before, haven't we? How infectious it is when you speak to somebody who's passionate, like the episode with Craig Black.
Yeah, bro.
Like Craig.
Sick, like. And hopefully this one, like people, I'm like. Bro, you talk about the energy, like you just like I'm running my mouth about my successes right now. Do you know what I mean? About my ebbs and my flows, my not wrong or right directions, but directions that I've gone in. Do you know what I mean? To get me where I've got to now, and like, I only feel like I'm just getting started. I'm 31 years old, bro. I'm sat in one of the fucking. I can't really say it as the greatest city. I've not seen enough places, but deemed as one of the greatest cities in the world. Do you know what I mean? And I do feel like I'm drowning every day, some of my own accord, But, to come onto a podcast like this, and my own podcast, our podcast, you know what I mean? And then run my mouth, like, I'm having all the things about, oh, shit, are you, the British thing coming in, do you know what I mean? Like, but I'm trying to take the American approach of like, yeah, I am this guy, do you know what I mean? I am the guy. I love design. I love staying in shape. I love doing hard things. I love being around people who like the same thing.
With the American approach, you just said then talk on here about your successes. If you were to take that American approach and I know you just sort of did a version, then you sat on Glen. What would you say are like successes for you or your proudest moments? Because and I know we both do, struggle with getting to the end of the day and be like, yeah, I'm proud of what I've done today. I'm just going to put everything down.
Yeah.
What moments throughout your career so far have you gone like, that was a success, or I'm proud of that moment?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I think a lot of it for me goes off feelings. Like when I did that card for Andy back at uni, I always see that as weirdly as like a really success because of like how it landed, just with like a feeling. It always comes to my head when I get asked for a question like this, and there was no financial gain or anything like that. I don't even think it's gone anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And maybe I made a social post about it, but it was just a fucking little card for when Andy had a baby. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought the idea was really pure. I think feelings that come from that.
What was the idea?
It was a fucking, Andy had a baby. It was ahead of the new blood season of the pencils. So I did a little pacifier and took the ampersand out of D&AD to make dad, obviously. It made dad.
Pacifier.
Pacifier. Well, the baby's bottle. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, stuff like that. I think I'm super proud, lad, of my movements, lad. And finding myself through, or continuously kind of like finding myself through, the work that I do, and trying to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life doing that. So it's hard to say, like, I don't have a pinnacle moment with work, if that's what you're kind of getting towards. Like, I always remember I won that student pencil, but that was years ago now, and I don't really see that as a big success in my life at the time, but I feel like I've outgrown it a little bit to kind of lie on it now. But honestly, bro, just working on some of the biggest brands in the world and having my say on them the best I can. Do you know what I mean? Some of the stuff that I've got coming out soon is great, I think. You know what I mean? Again, you say it like some of the stuff that's coming out, I think.
I want the conviction. I want that American conviction.
Yeah, I've got some stuff coming out. Yeah, I've got some stuff coming out soon that's great. And yeah, I think that just, I think a lot of my successes have come from just driving forward, lad. I don't think you need, I guess I'm realizing now as I'm saying it, you don't necessarily need an award or you need an accolade to feel like a success. I think success is so subjective, and for me, I'm still working out as I go. I'm definitely not in a place where I can sit back on a fucking armchair, smoke a cigar, and like, that was a successful, you know what I mean, or whatever. Do you know, I'm definitely not there yet, but the things that
I'll never be there.
Yeah, and I think that's a good and bad thing. I think there's a balance between that as well. It's a fucking podcast in itself. But yeah, I think my success has come from the journey itself so far to get me to where I'm at to right now. They're my accolades, you know what I mean? I think I can tell someone in my story of even just packing up my bags and moving out to New York to pursue something that I love every day and get as good as I can get at it. Why do you need to see my work? Trust me. So there's your fucking conviction, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Like,
so with you saying then one of your proudest moments or like successful moments was creating Andy's card, I think that's really a really powerful statement, because that's about just creating something that's got such deep meaning to a single person. Like that's probably got dust on it sat in Andy's attic right
I hope
now.
so.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Yeah. And his son might pull that out, or somebody else might pull that out in, I don't know, however long. But yeah, it's like that's something that it didn't earn somebody millions of pounds through like an ad or anything like that. It was just a piece of work that you created for a friend, that was super meaningful, and I mean, and your tutor as well. And I saw Kev. You remember Kev Darton?
Yeah.
So he did a talk at uni years ago. This probably like fucking was 14 years ago, something insane. And I saw him in at the UCLAN degree show a couple of months ago, and I said, Kev, I always remember this project that you did, and you created it. I think it was for it might have been for his stepsister or I can't remember. Like I thought it was his cousin or his stepsister or something like that. And she was about 9 years old at the time. And like you, it was a card that he made for her, and it was a Christmas card that he created for her, and it was embossed. It was a music sheet for White Christmas, and it was embossed in white on the card. And the idea behind it was that it was only her and Kev who could read music in the family. So it was like a moment that he had with this family member, and that only them two could understand this moment together. And like I just always remembered that, and I said it to him the other day in the pub, and he was like, "You remember that? Wait, hold on." Like, wow, he was blown away that somebody had remembered him for that project. And it is that, in it. It's like the meaningful, memorable, like the bits that like hit you, where it's like that's got some strong emotional connections with. Like that's doing something for somebody. That hit the hardest.
Yeah, I think good design makes people feel something. I think, you know, like it makes you, whether it be like, oh, I wish I'd have done that idea, or that's not, or that fucking the eureka moment of being in on the, you know, on the joke, seeing the thing, or whatever it is. I think that's how people like subconsciously and emotionally connect to brands anyway, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like I think, you know. But yeah, man, I've waffled for a long time there, bro. I hope that's okay.
This is really good, and to finish it off, and I think this is a good way to end it.
I actually wait before you do. Wait. I was trying to find it on my phone whilst we were doing it rudely, but I've made a list of like NYC observations since being here. I stopped doing it, but I've just read back, and some of them are actually really good, right? So this is what I've got since being here, right? So everything's
before
really.
Before I lose my train of thought as well, right? We're going to do the NYC observations.
Right, all right.
And to make sure that all of this is fucking useful for somebody,
which
I'm sure it has been. I remember in the presentation that you did, the talk that you did, which was all about taking L's.
Yeah, man.
I think you had like your 10 things to look out for.
Yeah.
And I think throughout all your observations throughout your journey, I think it'd be good to end on that. Hit me with your New York observations, and then when you've got that list pulled up, let's finish on those as well. Because I guess those 10 observations as well have come from this whole journey that you've done, from starting out in Tilsley to working that bar job to finding yourself in design somehow. You was in the newspaper in Tilsley as well, I remember.
I fucking was, like, I fucking on big things, bro. Big things, bro.
To get into London, to go into Turner Duckworth, to get into New York. And there's also something as well, which was that there has always been a thread to this, hasn't there? Like, this has always been you've always sort of envisioned this for years, haven't you? Like, I'm going to go to TD, you're going to go to London for a bit, and then I'm going to go to New York. You've always said that.
Yeah, I have. And, you know, anything that I've really wanted in my life, like really wanted, lad, like I really believe in visualization. I'm really trying to, you know, through the hard times, I think that's when it's hard to keep the visual and what you believe in and keep the belief when things get really hard, and like, you know, give a man a hammer when it times are like that and they'll think everything's a fucking nail. Do you know what I mean? But moving forward, I am on the energy of like believing and the energy of what if it all works out. You know, I'm looking up because I've got it written above me on a poster, but like I tell myself every day that everything is working out for me. Multiple times a day, it's on the front of my phone, it's plastered on my walls, everything. I believe that everything is working out for me, and I believe the energy that I put out comes back. It's whimsical in a way. I don't give a fuck how you interpret this. Do you know what I'm saying? But it won me a yellow pencil at university. It got me to London, and it got me to my dream design agency, Turner Duckworth, at the time. You know, it pushed me to go freelance and, you know, get lost in, you know, the hustle of running your own thing, so to say, and running your own clients and that. And then again, like believing in changing that, and like, you know, coming out to New York, you know, again, like I did all them things of like I had New York on my wallpaper, on my background for like a year. Do you know what I mean? I had, you know, I just feel like I'm always building to that next thing. I'm always trying to visualize what's next, and it's hard sometimes when you get in. For me, I feel like when I get into a lull and I don't know what's next, and I'm not working towards that next thing, you know. But that's just the way I am. You know.
What's your wallpaper on your screen right now then? Because it used to be white with New York written big on it.
It used to be. Now it's that everything is working out for me. Believe. What if it all works out? That's
nice, lad. You should take that thing that you've got on the wall and make some prints of it, like exactly in the state it's in right now.
Yeah, you're right. But I do. I read that like 3-4 times a day. I do. It's weird, bro, because like I just started listening to Napoleon Hill, and I've listened to. Well, we both have, you know what I mean, and we both listened to all these people throughout our careers and stuff like that and whatever else. But I just really the stuff he's saying. It just, I don't know if it's because it's so pure from like back in the day and there was less distractions and stuff. But everything he's saying, it just makes sense. And you know, if you tell yourself you're not good enough, then you're not going to be good enough. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's, you know, like what you repeat becomes real, and that is just what I'm on now. Like and the most important thing, it's all good saying it on a podcast on a Sunday morning when I'm about to light a joint in a minute and everything's fucking hunky dory and we're all good. What's the win is to tell yourself that in times of real doubt and that real fucking, you know, that then them horrible times where you're not being nice to yourself and stuff like that, and the practice of talking to yourself like you would, like I talk to you, Michael. You come at me mm-hmm. with a problem or an issue, or whatever. Like I'll give you my whole heart, brother. Do you know what I mean? I'll give you my whole heart, and I'll give you everything. And I would never swear. I would never even like Michael, no. And you'd be like, oh, lad, I feel like I'm this. And nah, bro. I can reassure you, not. I'm doing that for myself now. I'm learning how to become my own best friend, and I think that's the biggest flex you can be. And I heard Tyler Creator said it. Tyler Creator, and again, these people who speak with confidence, he's like, I just love myself. I just love myself. That's what I'm on. I'm just trying to shine for, and people who really do love themselves, I do shine too. Do you know what I mean? Like fucking, because I think that's, you know. But yeah, man, sick, bro. A little bit of fucking fit for you there, right? So, NYC observations, right? I've got everything's really big. No one gives a fuck. I remember speaking to a guy right on the street, and I said, like, give me one bit of advice you're telling someone who just moved to New York, and he was like, walk with purpose. To this day, I walk with purpose. You look like a New Yorker if you're doing up 10 toes, leaving dents in the concrete. Depth. I'm just reading this. I think depth, big depth. You can be who you want to be here. Weird. There's always bare water in the toilets. Don't know why I've written that. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. Literally.
Literally.
Think quick and move fast. They don't give a fuck about tea. Tea is non-existent here. No one gives a fuck about tea. The tea bags are just chucked at the back of the thing, and then no one gives a fuck about tea. Every day I feel like I'm being choked out, when I'm not even at jiu-jitsu. Sirens. Harlem is hood as fuck. Crazy beats hard. Crazy beats hard, bro.
That's nice.
Because I could have just savaged up for whatever reason and been a hammer at jiu-jitsu for this one class. Very rare. And get onto a train and be feeling myself, and some skinny whatever crazy person gets on a train shouting their head off, and I can be like, oh my god. Do you know what I mean? Choose who you look at. That's a good one. Choose who you look at. It's give eye contact to the wrong person and you're getting pulled into a madness sometimes. Like you'll have moments like I'll be walking on a subway. I was walking on a subway a couple of weeks ago with G and my little brother, and walking through, and this guy was spitting bars, and he was all right, bro. Do you know what I mean? He was just stood there in the middle of fucking PAF station, Ramo, and he's walking through, and he's like, with the guy in the green, rocking Supreme, looking clean, and like I'm walking through these yellow and green Supreme shorts, and I've got a fucking these New York moments that happen. It's like sick, and it felt like a proper New York moment for me. I felt like I was in a movie even more so than I used to do every day. Crazy shit. And like you'll have situations like where like they have bike lanes here, no one gives a fuck, bro. You know what I mean? You got this lady on a phone, right? Fucking driving up in the down bike lane, and this guy's like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? As soon as he opened his mouth, he's like, shut the fuck up, you know what I mean? They're just like, it's just wild, bro. The energy's like, it's so insane, lad. If you moved here as an expat, you're doing something. Everyone I've met who've moved here from somewhere, if like say Australia, UK, wherever, they're doing something. And the last one I've written is don't talk to anyone. Don't talk to everyone. Funny, bro. Bro. And
why not talk to everyone?
Because you know you just get caught up in like a conversation you might not want to be in.
Yeah, and that's quite a funny one because most people won't talk to anyone, right? But
yeah,
you've got the opposite.
Yeah, I've got a problem with it. I talk to everyone, do you know what I mean? Yeah, and like some situations, like, how do I elaborate on this? Like, just some people, I don't think most people are quite inquisitive with it. Of like, what the fuck are you doing here? Do you know what I mean? With the accent and whatever else, do you know what I mean? And like whatever. But like some people, I just don't think. I think some people just walk past, just leave it there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I remember like being on the tube sometimes in London, and like somebody will just decide to be like, "Why are we all just sat here and no one's talking to each other?" And then they're like, "Yeah, what's good, brother? Like, what's going on?" And people are so freaked out by it.
Yeah. It's like it's elevated in New York with that kind of stuff.
I can imagine.
Fucking that subway system, brim, bro. I fucking hate the subway. But yeah, there we are. And then let's finish with my L's. So obviously, if you wanted to check out my talk, I did a conference talk that you can find on YouTube. Michael will put it in the link below on this video. Right. Somewhere like that, yeah. But yeah, I finished the talk with, and it elaborates on more of the story with like some pictures as well. So if you don't want to just listen to me, you can also visually have this spelt out as well in my journey. And thank you for listening to it. If you are still listening, do you know what I mean? And please do leave a comment below of, if you'd ever want to move abroad or do something like this with work, do you know what I mean? And please do reach out if you have any questions on Instagram or anything like that. I'd be happy to give you my 2 cents. But yeah, these are my L's that I finished my presentation with. So get outside, outsee your peers, outwork yourself, work out until it works out, and if it doesn't work out anyway. Be the dumbest in the room. I repeat that one. Be the dumbest in the room. That's an important one. Be unapologetically you. Find your state of play. Take the punch and hit back harder. Look slowly and take more L's. You know what I'm saying, bro? That's where I'm at, and I'm sure, and I hope in another couple of years' time, from the L's that I keep taking, I'll have even more. You know what I'm saying? My only fear is that I stop making them.
Kristian Shepherd, everybody.
Big
Or
up, bro.
you go by Sheps, but I always call you
Sheps.
Kristian. Your
Yeah,
Kristian name.
Yeah. I like that you call me Kristian. Sheps won't feel right coming out of your mouth.
Someone's got to lay the law around here. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to be reminded sometimes that
you're the gaffer, bro. You know what I mean? You're the gaffer. You're the boss, bro. What you say, go. But yeah, thank you for doing that. And I look forward to doing the reverse.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Thank you so much for your time, as always, lad. And
I love you, bro.
Lots of love, man. And we keep moving.
I love you so much, bro. I'm grateful for you, your energy, for everything, bro.
That's all we can do. Let's keep moving.
Forever. Peace, bro.
I want to win, lad. Let's win.
Let's win. Love you, bro. Sick. That was good.